So good day, everyone. This is a program to read the sensor monitor. So it's a sensor monitor, a sensor reading monitor. And for a sensor reading monitor, we declared 999 reading as a faulty sensor. So this is how we created the program. After after including the IO stream, that is the library that contains all the functions that we will use in this program, we declared the namespace standard that allows the cout and then the cin functions also to work. And then we also, let me zoom it in so that we'll see it well. Okay, so this is how it is. And the int main is the main function in which we write all our code in the C++ programming language. So we declared our variables. So let me write that here. So declaring variables. So that is what is happening here. So we declared our variables here. Sorry, I'm delaying. So we declared, so here we are declaring the variables that we are using in the program. So double, that's the data type double, and then the we call that data type as the reading. So double because we want to be able to have decimal values, because for a sensor reason, for a sensor reading, we want to have decimal values, because a sensor can read decimal values too. So we also sum all the readings, and that one too we also need to get the decimal value. So we declared it as double, and then the int, that's the count. For the count, it is only counting the number of sensors we have. So for that one, we don't need the decimal value. So we actually didn't declare, we actually use the data type as the integer data type that doesn't accept decimal values. And then we come by we started by giving the or we started by showing what we want to do to the console. So we actually showed, or we see out sensor reading monitor. So when anyone that reads the program will know that there is a sensor reading monitor, and then we also tell the user that he's going to enter 12 sensor readings, and for that 12 sensor readings, the readings can be from 1 to any value, but we declared 999 as a faulty sensor. So when a sensor reading is 999, we call it faulty sensor. I mean the sensor is not functioning well. Okay, so this is the for loop that we use, and in the for loop we nested the if else statement inside the for loop. And what this for loop is to do for us is that we said the for loop should count 12 values, and we implemented it. The int I equals 1 means we are starting the sensor counting from 1, and it should end when the sensor counting reaches is less than or equal to 12. That means 12 included, and then we incremented it. The increment makes the program to increase the value of the I until it reaches 12, and then when it is more than 12 it will not read. And this is the if else statement. So we declare that if a reading is exactly equal, is strictly equal to, yeah, that's the equal to, which means it is strictly equal to 999. That sensor should be declared as a faulty sensor and it should be skipped. That means that sensor will be skipped, and we continue the program. Or else if that sensor, let me do it this way. Okay. So else if that sensor is, if the sum is actually equal to, and the sum is sum plus reading, that means when we calculate for the first one, the first sum will come here as the first sum reading, and then it will add up to the reading that we have read, and then it will be stored back inside the sum. So at any level of counting, the sum will be added up inside the same variable, but with an incremented value, so that we will not be having plenty sums at the end of the program. So that's how we actually did it. And then we also incremented the count here, so that the count to will also count until we reach the value that we require, as the the 12 being declared here. So when a reading is actually this one, we want to tell the user that it is actually a valid reading recorded, and then we come to this place and we summarize everything, give the average, and then also the number of valid readings and the number of faulty readings, and then we now tell the user that no valid readings found. Okay, that's when we are done with the 12. When it reaches the 12, we should prompt the user that there is no valid reading found. So let's read it in an IDE and see the results that we will see. So this an IDE. When we put it in the IDE, there's a code block IDE. So here, as we have explained in the notepad, this one the same we have here. So let me quickly run it and let's see what we have, see the logic behind, and how we will actually go about it. So we actually debug it, and after that we run the program. So this the sensor. This is how it will look like when we actually, so let me increase it. Yeah, yes. Let me also increase the size so that we can see it well. Yeah, so this is the first reading, that's reading one. And let's say the reading one is having a value of, let's say, 305. Yeah, so we enter, and then it tells you that it is a valid reading recorded. So let's say the second reading is having a value of 999. So it has skipped, it will not read the second sensor. Why? Because it is having a 40 what? A 40 a 40 reading. So let's go to the next one. Let me say it is having value of 120 reading. And that one is a valid reading. And let's go to, let's say the next one is having 150. So we do till we get to, so let's assume that we have, let's say, three sensors to be 40. So let's actually move on so that we'll be fast. And let's say this sensor 2 is having a value of this one. So this is the summary aspect that I was talking about. So the summary here, we say that the average of valid readings is 399.9 0.111. Number of valid readings, that is when we counted the number of valid readings we are having is 9, and the number of faulty readings we are having to is 3. So this is the logic of the program when being executed. Thank you.